You're listening to Workspace Solutions with Turner Business Center.
Good morning, everyone. Today we discuss about the office space search process. Finding the perfect office space can feel like a daunting task. And honestly, there are so many opportunities to make mistakes along the way.
Yeah, it's amazing how many businesses fall into the same traps over and over again. It's easy to see why when you're pressured by time or budget constraints.
Exactly. One of the biggest pitfalls I see is companies not fully considering their future growth. You might think, okay, let's just pick something that works for now. But that can backfire really quickly if your business starts to expand and you're locked into a space that no longer fits.
Absolutely. I had a client once who leased space without thinking about their growth plans. 2 years in, they needed another 10 desks and had no room to grow. The lease negotiations to exit early, a complete nightmare.
That's such a common issue. It's not just about needing more desks either. What about, breakout rooms, meeting areas, stuff you don't even realize you'll need until you're already out of space?
Right. And I think another big thing is contracts themselves. Too many people take on these rigid long-term leases without any flexibility built in. Business is unpredictable, and if you're tied down to an inflexible agreement, you're stuck.
Oh, for sure. I mean, flexibility is key, especially when you don't know what's coming next. But Stephen, you've seen this too. How people get tunnel vision about price?
Yeah, every time. It's tempting to go for the cheapest option, especially with overhead stacking up. But if that office is unsuitable, bad layout, poor location, it'll hurt productivity, maybe even morale. You save a bit up front, but pay for it in other ways.
Exactly. I mean, you don't want an office space that becomes, a revolving door of staff because they just can't work efficiently or they're unhappy with the environment. There's a balance to be struck. Affordable but functional and inspiring too.
Yeah, inspiring is a good word. It's often overlooked, but it makes such a huge difference in keeping people motivated and, well, happy to come to work every day.
You know, Stephen, when we think about how an office can inspire and function well, design plays such a big role. It's not just about making the space look nice. It's about crafting an environment that boosts productivity and provides the flexibility teams need to thrive.
Yeah, flexibility's become a big deal. I mean, the traditional one desk per person model just doesn't work anymore, especially with remote working becoming so common. It's a waste of space and it's expensive.
Exactly. And shared spaces, adaptable workstations, they're kind of the way forward now, aren't they? They allow businesses to use their space more effectively. For instance, hot desks or shared conference areas can be great solutions.
You know, we actually implemented this at one of our business centres not long ago. Um, Tenants were asking for more meeting rooms, but we didn't have the space for permanent ones. So we created flexible, bookable areas that could be used as meeting rooms, private workspaces, or even small event spaces. Tenant satisfaction shot up.
That's such a smart approach. And it shows how a well thought out design can solve so many issues. Speaking of design, let's talk about the specifics. For me, lighting has to be at the top of the list. Poor lighting can completely wreck a workspace, whether it's too dim or, that harsh, glaring, fluorescent lighting.
Oh, absolutely. Natural light, when you can get it, is a game changer. It lifts the whole mood of the office. And it's not just about how it feels, it actually impacts productivity too. There's research behind that.
Right. And the layout is just as crucial. It needs to be functional, of course, but also, designed with flow in mind. You don't want people bumping into each other or struggling to find private spaces when they need them.
Yeah, and even small considerations like the location of power outlets or how easy it is to connect to the Wi-Fi make a huge difference. Getting these details right saves so much frustration down the line.
And amenities, too. I mean, a thoughtfully placed coffee machine or some quiet breakout zones can really enhance a workspace. It's about creating an environment that people want to be in, you know?
Absolutely. The more comfortable and honestly inspiring the workspace, the more people feel connected to their work and the company.
So, as we've been discussing how thoughtful workspace design can truly transform productivity and satisfaction, it's also critical to address the foundational steps before securing a workspace. One major thing, and I can't stress this enough, is conducting proper pre-lease inspections.
Yeah, skipping this step can lead to so many unforeseen expenses. I've seen businesses move into spaces only to realise later that the HVAC system doesn't work properly or half the electrical outlets are faulty. It's a nightmare.
Exactly. And it's not just the big things, right? I mean, something as simple as not having enough power outlets, or even, you know, poor internet infrastructure. It can throw off your operations completely. You've got to check everything.
And don't rush through it. Take your time to really assess the space, walk through it with a checklist, even bring an expert if you're unsure. It's worth the upfront investment to avoid costly repairs or disruptions down the line.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's location. People often underestimate just how important it is for both accessibility and branding. Like, if it's hard for clients or employees to get there, it's going to cause so many headaches.
Yeah, and it's not just about physical accessibility either. I remember a company that picked an office purely based on price. It was in the middle of an industrial zone. They struggled to bring in clients for meetings because the place just didn't give off the right impression.
Right. And that ties into another big one: viewing your office as part of your company's identity. It's not just a space to work, it can actually enhance your brand. A well-designed office can reflect your vision and values.
Exactly. It sets the tone for your team and even for visitors. If your office is outdated or unwelcoming, it doesn't send the best message about your company or its culture.
So true. That's why it's worth seeing your office as an investment, not just a line item on your budget. When you think about it, happy employees, a strong brand presence, it all feeds back into the success of your business.
Yeah, a well chosen, well designed office pays off in so many ways, whether it's through better employee retention, smoother operations, or just creating a culture people want to be a part of.
All right, Stephen. I think that's a good note to end on. A great office space is more than just four walls and a roof. It's the foundation for your team's success.
Couldn't agree more. And hopefully, after this, our listeners feel more prepared to navigate the process without falling into those common traps.
Well, that's all for today. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.
Stay tuned for our next podcast.